Hello my motor enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the aftermath of the thrilling Hungarian Grand Prix. You're tuned into F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Hello Enzo, and what a race it was. The top spot went to a new face this time, didn't it?
Absolutely, William. Oscar Piastri clinched his first ever Formula One victory, leading McLaren to a stunning 1-2 finish with Lando Norris right behind him.
And what about Lewis Hamilton? How did he fare in this mix?
Lewis took the third spot on the podium. He was all praises for Piastri, acknowledging the rookie's pace and McLaren's strategy. Quite a sportsmanlike gesture, I must say.
Indeed, and I heard there was a bit of drama with Max Verstappen during the race.
Spot on. There was a notable incident between Hamilton and Verstappen, but Lewis brushed it off as just a racing incident. No nerves there, just pure racing heart.
And how's the championship looking after this race?
It's all heating up, William. Norris spoke about still having a shot at the championship despite the team orders controversy at McLaren. It seems the team dynamics are as intriguing as the races themselves.
Looks like we've got a lot to unpack in today's episode. Let's get started, shall we?
Hello there, my motor enthusiasts. I'm Enzo, coming to you live from the heart of motorsport action on F1 Motor Fever podcast, where we dish out the hottest F1 news daily.
And I'm William, ready to delve into the twists and turns of the track alongside Enzo.
Together, we're here to fuel your passion for all things Formula One. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and share our podcast with your friends and family. Your support keeps our engines running.
Absolutely, and speaking of support, today's episode is a real corker. You sure won't want to miss it.
Oh, and believe me when I say, you won't believe what we're about to dive into today. It's absolutely riveting and shows just how unpredictable this sport can be.
That's right, Enzo Watts. It keeps all of us on the edge of our seats, doesn't it?
Spot on, William. So, stick around, because we're about to go full throttle. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk trivia. Did you know that the Hungaroring, where the Hungarian Grand Prix just took place, is one of the slowest and most difficult circuits for overtaking in Formula One?
Oh, that's fascinating. It really puts into perspective the skill level needed to compete there.
Exactly. And another bit of trivia for our savvy listeners, the Hungaroring was the first Formula One track to be built behind the Iron Curtain, way back in 1986. It's steeped in history, holding a race every single year since its inception.
That's a testament to its significance in the sport. It's not just about speed, it's about strategic driving and precision.
Spot on. And considering its challenging nature, any victory at the Hungaroring is well earned, much like Piastri's recent win. It just shows the caliber of drivers we're seeing today.
Absolutely, and those historical layers add so much depth to each race. It's not just a competition, it's a continuation of a rich legacy.
Moving on from the trivia, let's delve into the recent Hungarian Grand Prix. The top three finishers really gave us a spectacle, didn't they? McLaren achieving a 1-2 finish with Oscar Piastri taking his first win on a Sunday, what a milestone.
Indeed, it's always exhilarating to see fresh talents claiming the podium. And speaking of exhilaration, Lewis Hamilton's performance was nothing short of dramatic, managing to secure third place despite the intense pressure from the Red Bulls.
Absolutely. In the press conference, Hamilton gave a nod to the stiff competition, mentioning how tough it was to maintain tyre durability early in the race, and then, that close battle towards the end, definitely hair-raising stuff.
And let's not forget the moment with Max Verstappen. Hamilton described seeing him closing the gap with such pace that all he could do was laugh. That maneuver where Verstappen went up the inside, only to clip and go over, must have been heart-stopping to watch.
It just goes to show the level of skill and nerve these drivers possess. Plus, Hamilton's acknowledgement of McLaren's success, considering it his old original family, adds such a personal touch to the competition. It's clear there's still a lot of respect and sentiment in the pit lane.
It makes the sport not just about the cars and the technology but also about the people and their relationships. Fascinating stuff.
Indeed, and it's these human elements that make Formula One more than just racing. It's a blend of high-speed competition and deep-rooted connections. Now, let's brace ourselves as the season progresses. Stick around, as we're just getting started. Reflecting on the recent Hungarian Grand Prix, it's clear how much of a team sport Formula One really is. McLaren's 1-2 finish is a testament to their collective effort. Lando Norris mentioned that it was a phenomenal team effort that led to their success. He also highlighted that it was a win achieved on merit, showcasing not just the prowess of the drivers but the entire team behind them.
Absolutely, it's these efforts behind the scenes that often don't get enough limelight but are crucial for such victories. And Norris's openness about the team dynamics, especially about being asked to let Oscar pass him, adds a layer of strategy and decision-making that we often speculate about but rarely hear confirmed.
True, and it's these candid revelations that make the sport so intriguing. Now, turning our focus back to our listeners, I can't help but marvel at the world of Formula One. Such emotions, such competitiveness, such adrenaline. It's quite something, isn't it? What do you reckon? Are you enjoying the content? Don't forget to hit the like button, alright? I'm absolutely loving these updates, and I hope you are too. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Let's carry on and see what the rest of the season holds, especially with the upcoming race at Spa, known for its unpredictability. What are your thoughts on McLaren's chances in the upcoming races? Continuing our discussion, the Hungarian Grand Prix was indeed a landmark event for Oscar Piastri, marking his first Formula One win on a Sunday. Describing the victory, he mentioned it was a very special day, something he dreamed of as a kid. Imagine that, standing on the top step of the F1 podium for the first time.
Truly a fairy tale moment for any racer. Piastri also praised his team and the car, calling it a beast and expressing how it was phenomenal to manage the race so well, securing that 1-2 finish for McLaren. It's clear the synergy between the driver and the team is quite strong at the moment.
Indeed, and Piastri highlighted the team's execution, even amidst some tense moments regarding team orders with Lando Norris. He seemed quite confident about the decisions made and their execution, noting how everything ultimately worked out as planned.
That's the kind of trust and coordination that makes a team stand out in such a tight competitive environment. Piastri seems optimistic about the future too, hinting at more wins if things continue this way.
It's these stories of personal and team triumph that make Formula One so captivating, isn't it? The blend of personal achievement with collective effort, all culminating in moments of victory. What do you reckon? How do you see Piastri's future in F1 shaping up based on this stellar performance? Moving on to the next race at Spa, Oscar Piastri seems very confident about his team's prospects. He mentioned that despite Spa not being the happiest hunting ground for them recently, the car they have now is a real all-rounder, making him super confident about competing at the front.
That optimism must be infectious within the team. It's clear that McLaren has been evolving positively, and having a car that performs well in varying conditions is a testament to their development strides. Also, Lando Norris's reflections on the last race add another layer to this. He described the weekend as mistake-free with great pace, which he confidently states was their quickest this year.
Yes, and it's interesting to hear Norris clarify that he didn't give up the race win but lost it off the line, which really frames the situation as a matter of race dynamics rather than a simple team order. This distinction he makes is quite critical, showing the competitive nature and the internal dynamics within McLaren.
Absolutely. It's these intricacies and the raw honesty from drivers like Norris that give us deeper insights into the complexities of Formula One racing. Each race not only challenges their driving skills but also their strategic thinking and team coordination.
Indeed, and as we look ahead to Spa, it'll be fascinating to see how these dynamics play out on a track known for its demanding conditions. What do you reckon? How do you think McLaren will fare, given their current momentum and the unique challenges of the Spa circuit? Moving deeper into the dynamics within McLaren, Lando Norris openly discussed the tension of having to balance personal ambition with team strategy. He acknowledged the difficulty in managing his desire to win against the team's decisions, especially when he was leading the race.
Yes, it's intriguing to hear him speak so candidly about the internal conflict he experienced. He mentioned that while he's a team player, the thought of being self-reliant and prioritizing his own performance isn't far from his mind, especially when the championship points gap, as he said, is something like 60 to 80 points behind Max Verstappen.
Absolutely, and his reflections on the race strategy also shed light on the complexities of Formula One racing. He suggested that the team could have pitted Oscar Piastri first to avoid the controversy altogether, highlighting how strategic decisions can significantly impact the drivers' standings and their relationships within the team.
It's also commendable how Norris acknowledged Piastri's performance, emphasizing that despite the strategic complications, Piastri deserved the win. It shows a level of sportsmanship and team spirit, balancing his competitive nature with acknowledgement of his teammates' success.
Indeed, and it raises a curious point about how McLaren will handle such situations moving forward. Norris hinted at potential changes in team strategies and discussions post-race, which could be crucial for their approach in future competitions. What do you think? Will we see a shift in how McLaren balances individual driver strategies with overall team tactics in the upcoming races? Oscar Piastri's victory in his 35th start marks a significant milestone, not just for him but for the entire team. Standing on the top step of the podium, surrounded by Australian flags, must have been a surreal experience for him. He described it as a very special moment, one that he's dreamed of since the early days of his racing career.
Didn't quite catch that. What did you mean? Could you elaborate?
Of course. Oscar Piastri mentioned that achieving his first Formula One race win was a dream come true. He's been aiming for this since he made the big decision to leave Australia and pursue his career in racing. His journey underscores the sacrifices and tough choices young drivers often have to make to reach such heights in this competitive sport.
That's a poignant reminder of the personal journeys these drivers undergo. It's not just about the technical skill but also the enormous personal dedication and the support from their families and teams.
Absolutely. And speaking of technical aspects, Piastri also touched on the tactical decisions during the race. He noted that the decision not to pit first, which would have simplified things, was strategic to cover different competitors like Max Verstappen, while Lando Norris was covering Lewis Hamilton. This approach, though cautious, perhaps added a layer of complexity to their race strategy.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act, keeping an eye on multiple competitors and timing their stops precisely. The strategic depth in Formula One is always fascinating, isn't it?
Indeed, it is. Each race is not just a test of speed, but a cerebral challenge, requiring sharp decision-making and impeccable timing. This blend of strategic nous and driving skill is what makes Formula One such a compelling sport to follow. And speaking of milestones, Lewis Hamilton has just marked his 200th podium finish. He's often said he doesn't focus on statistics, but reaching such a number must hold some significance, even for a veteran like him.
Yes, Enzo, it's a phenomenal achievement. What's interesting is how he reflects on his journey rather than the number itself. He reminisced about his early days with McLaren and his first world championship. It's clear he values the relationships and the team spirit cultivated over the years more than the accolades.
Absolutely, William. And it's not just about personal glory for Hamilton. He mentioned how gratified he felt seeing McLaren finding form again and sharing the podium with younger drivers like Norris and Piastri, whom he noted were considerably younger when he started his Formula One career.
That's quite a perspective. It's almost like he sees his career as a continuous thread through the evolving fabric of Formula One. And speaking of evolving, Hamilton was involved in a bit of an incident with Max Verstappen during the race. He described it as a racing incident, suggesting that while mistakes happen, there shouldn't be any hard feelings, although he hinted that might not be the case from Max's side.
Racing incidents like these are always a talking point, aren't they? They not only test the drivers on the track but also their sportsmanship and professionalism off it. It seems Hamilton is keen to keep things cordial, despite the competitive nature of the sport.
Indeed, Enzo. The dynamics between drivers, especially ones as competitive as Hamilton and Verstappen, are always under scrutiny. Every move and every comment is analyzed. But at the end of the day, it's about the sport, and it's refreshing to hear Lewis focusing on the positives.
And on another note, Hamilton mentioned the physical challenges of racing, particularly in hot conditions. There's talk about the FIA planning to implement some sort of cockpit cooling to help drivers cope with the heat, which could be a significant development for driver safety and comfort.
That would certainly be a welcome change. The physical toll on drivers is immense, and any improvement in their conditions is beneficial not just for their health but also for their performance.
Lewis Hamilton, in his characteristic fashion, expressed his views on the proposed cooling systems for Formula One cars. He argues that as highly paid athletes, they should be prepared to withstand the challenging conditions, like the races in Qatar and Singapore. It's a bit of a nod to the traditionalist view in sports, where physical endurance as part of the game is often romanticized.
With all this talk of endurance and heat, I've got to ask, why don't they just make races shorter then? Wouldn't that solve the problem?
Oh, come off it. Shorter races? This isn't bumper cars at a fair, it's Formula One. The length of the race is integral to the strategy, endurance, and skill. It challenges both the car and the driver, which is what this sport is all about.
True, but think about it. There might be some listeners tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast who aren't as well versed in the nitty-gritty of Formula One. Some might wonder why, with all the modern technology and emphasis on safety, the races still need to be as long and grueling as they are.
I get where you're coming from, but honestly, if we start simplifying everything to cater to everyone, our seasoned listeners might just get fed up and switch off. This sport thrives on its complexity and the high level of skill it demands.
Perhaps, but explaining even the seemingly straightforward aspects can still add value. It keeps everyone on the same page and helps new fans appreciate the intricacies of Formula One even more. After all, every fan has to start somewhere, right?
Moving on to Lando Norris's comments post-race, it's fascinating to see his honesty about his own performance and the strategic decisions made by McLaren. He acknowledged that while he did end up leading for a good number of laps, 16 or 17 to be precise, he felt he didn't truly deserve the win due to his poor start, contrasted with Oscar's strong one.
It's a rare level of candor, isn't it? You don't often hear a driver openly admitting that they didn't deserve to win. It shows a great deal of maturity and a team-oriented mindset, which is crucial in the high-stakes environment of Formula One.
Exactly. And Norris mentioned something crucial about the feedback between a driver and their team. He was always prepared to give the position back to Oscar unless the team's strategy changed mid-race, which it didn't. This kind of transparency and readiness to adapt is what can make or break a race. It's not just about speed and skill, but also about communication and strategy.
That's an excellent point. And speaking of strategy, Norris pointed out that maybe the team should have pitted Oscar first to simplify things. It's a subtle critique of the decision-making process, suggesting a different approach could have avoided some unnecessary complexity during the race.
That's right. And it's these decisions, made in the heat of the moment, that can define a team's season. It's all about choices, isn't it? From when to pit, to how aggressively to defend a position, to managing the tires and fuel. Each decision forms a part of the intricate puzzle that is a Formula One race.
Indeed, and on the flip side, you've got Oscar Piastri, waiting in the wings, concerned about a potential safety car disrupting the order and taking the situation out of their hands. It shows that even when you're not in the lead, the tension and the strategic thinking don't stop. Every lap, every corner can throw a new challenge your way.
That unpredictability is what makes Formula One so enthralling. Each race is a narrative in itself, filled with potential plot twists. And it's not just about the drivers, it's a ballet of engineers, strategists, and support staff, all playing their part in the pursuit of victory.
It's a symphony of human endeavor and cutting-edge technology, played out at 200 miles per hour. Each team member, from the pit wall to the cockpit, contributes to the overall performance.
And that, listeners, is what draws us back, week after week, to this magnificent sport. Each race is a fresh chapter in an ongoing saga of speed, strategy, and endurance. Lando Norris's comments reflect a robust confidence in McLaren's progress this season. He admits that though Red Bull started as the favorites, McLaren has shown significant improvement, challenging the status quo. It's a testament to the team's hard work and the strides they've made in car development.
It's interesting to hear Norris acknowledge the psychological readiness needed to compete at this level, particularly against a titan like Max Verstappen. He speaks about looking forward to the challenge, doesn't he? That kind of mental preparation is crucial.
Absolutely. And he's right to point out that although McLaren has had a couple of standout weekends, they're not consistently the fastest car on the grid. That honesty about their performance variability shows a mature understanding of the sport's dynamics. It's not just about one or two wins, it's about consistent performance across the season.
The point about psychological readiness really stands out. Facing a 70 to 80 point deficit and still pushing forward shows a fighter's spirit. Norris seems to be saying, yes, we're the underdogs, but we're not out of the fight. It's this underdog mentality that can sometimes lead to surprising outcomes in sports.
Indeed, and that's what keeps the championships exciting and unpredictable. While Red Bull and Mercedes might have had more victories, McLaren's sporadic dominance suggests that they can disrupt the more established team's rhythm.
And with the summer break approaching, teams often bring significant upgrades and changes. Norris's optimism about the future, both short-term and long-term, suggests that McLaren might still have a few aces up their sleeve.
That's right. The dynamic nature of Formula One means that no lead is safe, and no prediction is set in stone. Every race weekend writes its own story, with its own heroes and twists. McLaren's recent performance is a brilliant reminder of why we love this sport, the constant evolution, the battles, the drama. It's all unfolding right before our eyes.
It's that blend of technology, team strategy, and individual bravery and skill that makes Formula One a pinnacle of motorsport. And as fans and commentators, it keeps us on the edge of our seats, race after race.
Lando Norris continues to emphasize his readiness to face the challenges ahead. His resilience and mindset are clear indicators of his determination to keep pushing, despite acknowledging the team's occasional strategic missteps. He admits that not every race position has been deserved, which is a candid reflection rarely seen from drivers at this level.
Yes, and his comments about taking advantage of opportunities, especially when competitors like Max Verstappen and Red Bull falter, highlight the importance of being opportunistic in Formula One. Norris seems well aware that in motorsport, fortune can play as big a role as skill and strategy.
Absolutely. It's also interesting to note his reference to team meetings and discussions about race strategy. It shows that McLaren is continuously evaluating and evolving their strategies, which is crucial for adapting to the dynamic nature of the sport. Norris mentions the necessity of team calls and decisions, reflecting a proactive approach to closing the gap in the championship.
That's a vital point. Speaking of gaps, Norris pointed out the significant points difference between him and the current leaders, yet he remains optimistic. His attitude underlines an important psychological aspect of racing, maintaining belief in the possibility of victory, regardless of the odds.
Indeed, and maintaining that psychological strength is as important as any technical improvement to the car. Norris's readiness to battle, to take each race as it comes, and to remain mentally resilient could be key factors in McLaren's performance in the latter part of the season.
The reference to not deserving to win today also sheds light on the integrity within the team. It's about earning the right to be at the front, rather than simply finding oneself there by chance. This kind of honesty likely fosters a strong team spirit and mutual respect among the team members, which is essential for overcoming challenges together.
That mutual trust and honest appraisal of each race outcome show a mature team dynamic that could well be their biggest strength as they head into the later stages of the championship. As Norris pointed out, it's the collective effort and development that have allowed them to catch up and, in some cases, outperform their rivals.
As we look forward, Norris's confidence and the team's strategic insights suggest we might see more from McLaren. The battles ahead will certainly be worth watching, as each race could dramatically influence the championship landscape.
And that is what makes Formula One so thrilling: the unpredictable nature, the constant evolution of teams and drivers, and the sheer unpredictability of each race weekend. Let's stay tuned to see how these strategies unfold and how drivers like Norris navigate the high stakes of each Grand Prix. It's fascinating to see the dynamics between teammates, especially in situations where championship points are at stake. Norris mentioned how sometimes strategic decisions can lead to unexpected positions in a race. Imagine leading a race you never expected to. Quite the psychological spin, eh?
Ha ha ha, absolutely. It's like being handed the lead role in a play where you were supposed to be a supporting actor. Suddenly, you're in the spotlight.
Exactly. And then there's the camaraderie. Norris hinted at possibly asking Oscar to let him pass in future races. It's a bit like asking your mate if you can have the last biscuit because you're still hungry, even though you know they want it too.
Ha ha ha, that's a brilliant analogy. And quite generous to even consider sharing that last biscuit. But today, as Norris said, it wasn't his race. Oscar had the upper hand, fair and square.
True, and talking of fair play, Norris really values the genuine merit of earning a race win. It's not just about being at the front, it's about deserving to be there. Quite the sportsman, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, it's that old school honor in sports. You want to win because you were the best on the day, not because someone let you pass.
And speaking of being the best, Norris did mention they're always discussing as a team how to improve. It's like continuously tweaking a recipe until you get that perfect bake. Sometimes, you end up with a masterpiece, other times, it's just not your day in the kitchen.
Ha ha ha, and let's hope their next recipe turns out to be a winner. Maybe they'll find that secret ingredient during the team's next strategy meeting.
Certainly keeps things exciting, doesn't it? Formula One is never short on drama or surprises, much like a well-scripted play with all its twists and turns.
Indeed, it's what keeps us all watching and talking about every race with such enthusiasm. The strategies, the performances, the teamwork, it's all part of this incredible sport we love so much.
It's quite remarkable to hear Lando Norris and his thoughts on racing dynamics within McLaren. He stresses how critical it is that they've been allowed to race against each other, which really underpins the essence of Formula One, doesn't it? It's all about that competitive spirit, even among team members.
Indeed, it is. The idea that they can challenge each other openly on the track speaks volumes about the team's philosophy. It's not just about securing points but also about pushing each other to excel. It's fascinating how he points out that regardless of the position, whether it's 9th or 10th, that competitive drive is always there.
Absolutely, and this transparency and respect among teammates can only foster a healthier team environment. Norris mentioned how honesty and respect have always been key elements in their interactions. That's something not every team can boast about.
Quite right. And speaking of personal growth, Norris seems really introspective about his performances. He acknowledges when he doesn't have the pace and shows a readiness to evaluate and improve. That's a trait of not just a good driver but a great one.
Now, switching gears a bit, Oscar Piastri's response about his recent win was quite modest, wasn't it? He mentioned that the feeling hadn't fully sunk in yet and downplayed the likelihood of any extravagant celebrations. No shoey on the podium this time, eh?
Ha ha ha, that's right. It seems like some traditions might be taking a back seat. But it keeps things interesting. Every driver has their style, both on and off the track. It's what makes them unique, what makes this sport so diverse and captivating.
True, the personal milestones for these drivers, they're all part of the broader narrative of the sport. Each race, each interaction adds layers to their careers and the history of Formula One.
And as fans and followers of the sport, it's these insights and moments that keep us engaged season after season. The strategies, the personal growth, the inter-team dynamics, it's all part of this grand, fast-paced spectacle.
Couldn't agree more. Now, let's keep our eyes peeled for the next race to see how these dynamics play out and which new stories will emerge from the grid. Every race weekend writes a new chapter in the thrilling book of Formula One. It's always intriguing to hear how drivers process their victories, isn't it? Piastri's reflection on his win not sinking in until the season ended last year in Qatar really shows the whirlwind nature of Formula One.
Absolutely, it's a sport where the next challenge is always just around the corner, leaving little time to dwell on the past victories or mistakes. It's that relentless pace that keeps these drivers on their toes.
Speaking of pace and support, Piastri's mention of Mark Webber's influence on his career is quite significant. Having a mentor like Webber, with his extensive experience and success in Formula One, must be incredibly valuable.
Indeed, the benefits of such mentorship can't be overstated. Webber's ability to share his insights and, as Piastri said, help him avoid the pitfalls that he himself fell into during his career, that's golden. It's like having a navigator who's already traveled the road you're on.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about avoiding mistakes, but also about strategizing for the future, understanding the intricacies of the sport, and sometimes just having that psychological edge.
And amidst all that serious talk, Piastri's take on the Shoei tradition brought a lighter tone, didn't it? It's a bit of fun, but he's keen on creating his own legacy rather than continuing someone else's, which is quite admirable.
It certainly is. It's all about carving out your own identity in the sport, isn't it? Whether that's through unique celebrations, racing style, or how they interact with their team and rivals on and off the track.
As we near the end of today's discussion, it's clear that the world of Formula One is as much about the high-speed races as it is about the stories, the people behind the helmets, and the myriad of elements that play a role in shaping a driver's career.
Well put. The layers that make up this sport are deep and complex, but dissecting them is what makes our discussions here at F1 Motor Fever podcast so enriching. We'll continue to explore these narratives and more in the episodes to come. William, what's buzzing in the ether? Got any spicy takes from the Formula One fans online?
Right, let's dive into this. There's been a heated debate around the recent Hungarian Grand Prix. It was themed 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix race discussion, with the hope of it being a cracker. The discussion is rife with opinions about McLaren's team orders, which have stirred a bit of controversy.
Oh, that sounds right for a debate. What are the punters saying?
Well, a chap by the name of Consistent Reply said, and I quote, "The McLaren team orders. Is this not cheating somewhat? Let's say I am a gambling man, and I had a bet on Lando to win. I would be furious at this stuff. Should it be legal to do this? Imagine having to let go of the gas pedal 2 laps away from your second F1 victory and let someone that is 6 seconds behind and new to F1ish drive by and take his first. Lando worked very hard to get to where he is. So has Oscar, but it felt like he was given a win, and that feels wrong for me. Oscar didn't sound very pleased either, unquote."
Blimey, that's quite a mouthful. Anything else?
Yes, another user, The King, remarked, quote, "Man, is this one too ever so controversial. There is zero consensus on what was the right thing to do from a strategic point of view, and if Lando was right or not to spend 20 laps refusing to execute team orders. Meanwhile, I'm just happy that McLaren finally gets a 1-2 on pure pace. Being a fan of theirs hasn't felt this good since I started following F1 again in 2017, unquote."
Interesting perspectives there. Seems like it's not just about the race, but the whole strategy and team dynamics are under scrutiny.
Indeed. And it gets thicker. Freezer Birds added, quote, "Except he would be second driver and he wouldn't be able to handle that," unquote, in response to someone suggesting Lando should switch teams.
Sounds like a proper tangle of opinions and emotions. It's clear that team orders can sometimes leave fans and drivers with a bit of a sour taste.
Precisely. And beyond the strategy talks, there's this bit from Prancing Moose, saying, quote, "My personal view, McLaren dropped the ball massively here. When you have a situation like this, I expect the TP to come onto the radio and give a direct instruction. Lando, this is Andreas. Give Oscar the position. That's a direct order from the top, no buts, no IFS. That also doesn't sour the relationship between driver and engineer," unquote.
That's a fair point. Clear communication can often smooth over potential rifts. Looks like the fans are as much into the politics of the sport as the racing itself.
Exactly. It's these layers that make Formula One more than just cars zooming around a track. It's about the people, the decisions, and the drama that unfolds both on and off the asphalt.
Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We delved into the intricacies of Formula One strategy and team dynamics, exploring everything from team orders to driver reactions. It's been a thrilling ride, and we're glad you joined us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on our future episodes. Your support by sharing our podcast across social media and with your mates at gatherings would be stellar. If you've got thoughts on today's discussion, do pop them down in the comment section.
And remember, we're not just about the high-speed drama, there's always a bit of banter and the odd surprise in store too. Make sure you stick with us, you never know what's coming up around the next bend. We're here daily, spinning tales and offering insights that keep you at the edge of your seat.
We truly appreciate you spending time with us and contributing to the vibrant community here at F1 Motor Fever podcast. Looking forward to having you with us next time.
Oh, and before we forget, keep those eyes peeled, there's always something interesting lined up, and you wouldn't want to miss it.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.